Hello, friends, and welcome on this early morning to Snow Jail. What's Snow Jail, you might ask? It's what I'm in right now. I'm in Snow Jail. When you are totally trapped at your house due to copious snows, after a certain amount of time, it feels a lot like Snow Jail. Good morning. Let me pull it up here on the TV so I can see the chat better. And here we go. Amadio Joshua GT. Greetings. Amadio Joshua GT. Interesting name. What's the GT stand for? Got this. You got this. You go, girl. You got this. Okay, Josh. Anyway, it's currently 4 a.m. right now where I am. And I don't normally get up this early, but I went to bed early. I slept quite well for about 7 hours, and now I'm up. I find myself awake and not especially inclined to go back to sleep right now. Well, I'm stuck in snow jail. I've been stuck in snow jail now for quite some time. I was able to go into town yesterday with Cameron. Cameron came here on Friday, and he's parked up on the road in this makeshift parking space that we made for him. No, after about 5 days of no cigarettes, I decided I wanted to smoke, and I I managed to walk slash hitchhike to the Triangle Road Market, and I got a carton of cigarettes. The thing is, it's a good idea. It was a good idea. It worked, but this is what made it kind of a bad idea. Is for a lot of that time, not only could I not get out of my house, but I couldn't even barely stand outside. Like, there's a covered walkway around the front of my house that I can walk back and forth along, but I can't even go into the backyard. I can't even go into the driveway without a big hassle. We've got a solid 5 feet of snow. We got another several inches last night. It's covering the entire everything. Now, I had scheduled for yesterday a guy named Chad to come plow my driveway. But he couldn't get up here because PG&E had both Snyder Creek and Snyder Ridge blocked off doing work. And apparently, he had a heck of a time getting off the mountain because they even had the outgoing roads, Heights Cove, blocked off. He had to wait an hour and a half before he could leave the mountain yesterday. Anyway, he didn't get to us accordingly. And it snowed again yesterday. It's going to snow again today. He says he's going to try to get to us on Monday. But it's a large amount of our imprisonment has been spent without power too. So then it really starts to feel like jail. You're just sitting here waiting for the snowplow to drive by, or sitting here waiting for the guy to come plow my driveway. I was able to get out one day last week by going to by hitchhiking to the Triangle Road Market where I got those cigarettes and smokes. But it wasn't until yesterday that Cameron Cameron drove me into town, and I was able to go to the grocery store and replenish all of our groceries, because another part of the difficulty of it was during the real bulk of the snowed in soiree. Um, we didn't have power, as well as didn't have the capacity to leave here. So, yeah, we'll keep going strong. I mean, the thing is, we like this a lot. We moved to Mariposa in order to be out in the woods. We hoped for snow. Um, we hoped to be in a big snowstorm, but we didn't. Nobody really anticipated that it was going to be this crazy. Southern California mountains, people are still snowed in and can't get out. And this is a more snowy place than the Southern California mountains. The Sierras have really just gotten absolutely slammed. The thing is, despite all that snow that we got several more inches last night, and it's going to snow all day today, too. So, let's see what the forecast actually looks like. It says rain, snow to begin in 11 minutes. That's rather precise. It'd be nice if we actually got rain, but every time I look at this thing and it says we're getting rain, it always turns out to be snow up here. Because I'm looking at Jerseydale, the weather for Jerseydale. The Jerseydale Ranger Station is back that way about several miles, and we're at a higher elevation than the Jerseydale Ranger Station. So even though I've got the weather report cued into as close to exactly where we live as possible, then I still have a lot of snow coming in. Flying space-brained idiot. Climate change equals climate change colon less than. Less than what? And I would also say you don't need the colon. Less than would function as an equivalent role of colon there. Boba Fett, good morning. Your fellow typology enthusiasts are doing fine. At least I am. I'll probably make some breakfast here at some point because I feel a little bit hungry. Yesterday, when we got back from the store, I made hamburgers, and I realized, like, oh my God, I've been really experiencing a protein deficiency, because for the time we didn't have power, all we had to eat was pasta, rice, and canned soup. And pasta is just wheat and tomatoes. Wheat and tomatoes is not a proper meal for anybody. You need cow flesh. failing that pig flesh, failing that chicken flesh. I have such a high metabolism that I need to eat a shit ton of food if I'm working at all. I've been doing a lot of snow shoveling and such, you know. And it feels good to do manual labor. It feels good to work out really hard and be all like at the end. But I am at this point tired of this. Like, I'm tired of being stuck. I'm ready for my car to be dug out. And I'm ready for the roads to clear up enough that it's once again normal to come in and out of here. I'm even ready for, yes, well, lemon melon, I've actually started eating a fair amount of salad. We buy prepackaged bags of salad, and I bought a jar of Bob's Big Boy Roquefort dressing, which is like my favorite dressing. So we usually go through this bag of salad pretty quick. But it turns out, I think, lemon melon, that I was basically spent years being very anally retentive, clenching all of my body all the time because I was in battle mode all the time. And we're not actually at the helipad at Heights Cove. If we were at the helipad at Heights Cove, we would be out in the little wilderness car, and there's no possible way I'd have any reception at all. But that's about as close to me as a location can be, because they don't have a location for Mariposa Pines. I'm at Heights Cove, basically, where the road turns to dirt and becomes a wilderness road. So I decided to put my location as Heights Cove today. Anyway, I think I was being very anally retentive in Los Angeles, which is to say, clenching my body all the time and retaining, accordingly, a lot of poop, being constipated fairly often and such. Since I've been here, it's changed, and the last couple of weeks, I've been pooping up a storm. Just clearing out, I guess, long held in poops or something. It's important to poop a lot. Otherwise, you don't feel very good when you retain it too much. So, here we are again. Stuck in a low dive. What I'm hopeful of is that as we continue to live here, and as we continue to settle in here and such, my hope is that what's the date today? My hope is that we will settle in to an actually comfortable new norm. Because right now, we're spending a lot of time waiting. And I don't really like waiting. I don't like being crippled like this, where I'm just too stuck. I'm too stuck where I am, and at least now we have power again and food in the fridge and stuff, and that's good. But I'm definitely beginning to feel a bit of cabin fever here. And of course, where we bought a home, this never happens. This is like never happened before since like maybe the 70s, where we get this much snow and get just buried completely in it. I feel very grateful and lucky that we've not sustained any substantial damage of any kind. One of our trees did fall across our driveway, um, but it missed, the retaining wall. It missed the, the mailboxes. It missed everything. So that's our only problem is that fallen tree. Well, the other one other problem is I can see in the back the rain gutter's gonna have to probably be replaced because the snow's weighing it down so much it's like gonna break it off. Not a huge big deal. A lot of people around here got a lot of worse damage than us, so we feel very fortunate in that regard. And we feel air taxi or helicopters. I mean, we couldn't even make it out to the helipad right now because I can't even get the little wilderness car out. That's how much snow. There's a big snowdrift in front of the driveway, in front of the garage. I did dig out a walking path. I tried to get the little wilderness car out earlier in the storm when it wasn't that much snow on the ground even yet. And I even shoveled up uh, almost the top of the driveway, enough of a space for the little wilderness car to go in, but I didn't shovel it all the way to the ground, and because I was backing up a hill, I kept sliding one way or the other, and it's just the universe didn't want me to get that car out that day. So now, who knows how long it's going to be till we get the little wilderness car out. If Chad comes on Monday, then hopefully, yeah, well, it's true. Even the ATV is snowed in. It's because I don't have straight up snow tires on it. There's these quads that I've seen around the last few days that have like tank style wheel things that go like this. Those you could get out with Amazon robot drones. I should get a drone. I want to get a drone for sure. Amazon robot drones tracks. I don't know what that means. Oh, tracks. That's what those tank style wheels are called. Yeah, some snowmobiles might have those, but the quads that are really moving around right now have those on them. I don't know if you can like switch them out or what, but yeah, if I had those, then I could probably get out of here no problem. Amazon delivery drones. Oh, you mean to deliver us stuff? Well, now that we were able to go into town yesterday, there's nothing I desperately need except for a chainsaw. Cameron and I went to the hardware store in Mariposa and looked at chainsaws, and I was planning on buying one yesterday. The one I want is $500 though, so and I'm slow to pull the trigger on purchases like that. I should have just bought it yesterday because we needed to chop up that tree to move the tree out of the driveway so that Chad can get as much of the driveway as possible. Unfortunately, the driveway goes like a U, right? And my car is in the bottom of the U. So I'm not quite sure how he's gonna, if he's gonna be able to even get out my car. But if he can just clear out this whole side of the driveway and that whole side of the driveway and get close to my car as he can get, I could dig it out the rest of the way. And of course, after leaving the car idling for hours so we could charge our phones, um, it's not huge, but like maybe this big around or something. Too big for anything but a chainsaw. Or Cameron actually yesterday went up there without my assistance and used his sawzall with a big long wood blade on it and chopped through the logs a bunch. But I need to get a chainsaw in general for living here. There's just too much tree stuff to deal with. Like there was one time when Rachel and I and Cameron drove the wilderness car out Kite's Cove towards Clearwater, which I'm really excited to go see at some point. Because make sure you wedge it so that it falls not on your house. Well, so far so good. Nothing's fallen on our house. And one piece of good news was, in the couple of days of melt that we had between the biggest part of the storm and in yesterday's resumption of the storm, the trees shed all of their snow. And what causes the trees to fall over is when they get too much snow on them, they get super heavy. Like our tree that broke in half. But yeah, we're pretty fortunate because other people had much more substantial damage than we did. And the tree that broke in half, we're probably going to have the standing half removed by a professional because of exactly what Boba Fett said. I don't want to play that. Yeah, I could chop the rest of that tree down with my chainsaw once I get it, but I don't trust myself to chop it down such that it falls the direction I want it to fall, which is away from the driveway. How did they manage the forest fires from a while ago? Well, they never reached my neighborhood. They got kind of close. Their burn area is kind of close to us, but the fires never came here to what's called Mariposa Pines. It's actually past Jerseydale. You might also just call it Heights Cove. But when I went on my excursion to the Triangle Road Market the other day, one of the cool things I learned from Richard and somebody who gave me a ride back from the Triangle Market, one of the things I learned was there's this place out in the wilderness off the wilderness road called Clearwater. And apparently it's an old abandoned mining camp. This is in Mariposa. Technically we're at Heights Cove, basically. And it's at the very back of the Dara Road input thing. And so it's also sometimes called Yosemite West. Depending on what app I look at, sometimes my phone or the computer will tell me I'm in Yosemite National Forest, which we're not, but we're close. There are signs around here that say no access to Yosemite, and the reason they got put up, I also found out from the people I got a ride back from the Triangle Market. There were some French tourists, and their GPS had told them the way to get to Yosemite was through here. And then they got their rental car, all on Heights Cove, which is just dirt road. Doesn't have that many turnarounds and stuff. And again, apparently drove way down there, and then they got their car stuck someplace, and they had search and rescue had to come get them. And so that's why they have these signs now that say you can't access Yosemite from here. You can access the park, but you can't access the national forest from here. But it's not the part that people are supposed to go into, you know. The official entrances are other places. And you can't get through all the way. You just get into part of Yosemite National Forest. You can't get into the part where from here without going around to the part where the Half Dome and shit is, you know. And El Capitan and other famous Yosemite things that people go to Yosemite to look at or climb up or whatever. So, you know, despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. That Smashing Pumpkins guy was right. Oh, Smashing Pumpkins guy, you're so horrible. But you know who's much more horrible than Smashing Pumpkins guy? Hi there. I can't read it on my phone right now. I'm going to go back inside. I'll be able to read your name. Bill Walton. I went to bed last night so angry at Bill Walton. He ruins every basketball game he commentates. I was really looking forward to watching that UCLA Arizona game. And it was more or less unwatchable because I had to either just mute it. Bill Walton is the absolute worst. And I don't mean to be typist in a bad way, but man, ESTJs have a knack for ruining everything. Whatever they touch is ruined. The total lack of introverted intuition and the selfish extroverted intuition means they constantly think they're the only ones whose ideas matter for anything, and they don't have good ideas. I don't think there was a Mexican broadcast of the UCLA Arizona basketball game. Well, there might have been. If they did that goal shit for every basket scored in a basketball game, it would just be nonstop goal, 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 goal. Well, I've been up and moving around enough at this point that I now have to poop. So, I will leave Tiffany in charge for the brief amount of time that I'm gone. You guys can chat with Tiffany. Oh, put on songs. I can put on songs. Hi, Art Taker Fraud 666. Well, there's a trustworthy name. Do you self-identify as evil or something? I can't put on music because I'm not streaming. I'm streaming from my phone. So I'll have to put on. I have to just leave Tiffany to chat with you guys. Wow! You're such a Rosington surprise. Yes. Oh, I suffered a very traumatic injury. I lost my arm. That's as good as I could sit. I'm going to poop now. here I am. It does not work like that at all, unfortunately. Um, we enjoyed multiple walks, and no, I didn't go outside for a coffin nail. I went poop, and I'll tell you, it was a medium poop. It came out quickly, which is good. TE advice: don't chainsaw above your head. Use a ladder. Yeah, I'm not planning on chainsawing a whole lot. I just need to have a chainsaw, and I plan to be extremely careful with it because I don't want to injure myself. Especially, I can't take hand injuries, and you can injure yourself really badly with a chainsaw. Which is why I didn't even get one right away to begin with. Is I thought I don't really want to play around with dangerous power tools too much, but I clearly need one up here. I've got too many trees on my property. I just have too much need for timber power tools, you know. So, well, we should be able. Cameron and I should be able to move that tree since he chopped it with his sawzall, um, enough for us to get that part of the driveway uh, cleared. Why are we chopping down trees? I'm not chopping down trees. The tree fell down. It broke in half and fell down, and it landed across the top of our driveway. So I need to chop it into pieces that I can move, you know, because it's too heavy to lift the whole thing, obviously. We do not have a wood stove. Because this home was made in 2000, it's made to the codes in 2000. And by 2000, you were no longer allowed to have a fireplace or a wood burning stove out here in fire country. So, what we have instead are these two. We have one upstairs and one downstairs. This is a fake wood burning stove that actually burns propane. Well, yeah, what was that? It is there are, well, I mean, I'm not sure I love the rule or not either. I would have liked to have gotten a fireplace, but yeah, I'll use safety goggles and big heavy gloves and stuff, and ear protection most importantly. Eye splinters are no bueno. Also, hearing damage is no bueno. So I should have bought the chainsaw yesterday. I went into town with Cameron. We stopped by the hardware store, but the chainsaw I wanted to get, $500. It's called a Rancher 450 or something. It's a Husqvarna. So, but I didn't pull the trigger on it, and I'll wait until we're normal again. Any plans for a pool? No. We don't have any spot to put a pool, really. Our backyard is mostly hill until a flat part down there where the shed is. We could put it down there, but it would just be a nightmare. It would be all filled up with pine needles all the time. And I don't like swimming that much anyway. Instead of getting a swimming pool, we would, if we're going to do anything like that, I'd replace the bathtub upstairs, which is still leaking. I'm thinking about trying to fix it rather than replace it. But, you know, I'm not very DIY. I'm not very good at tea stuff. A moat. I don't think we need a moat. California is only the coast of it is by the ocean. We're not anywhere close to the ocean. We'd have to drive at least 2 hours, between 2 and 3 hours to get to the ocean. But we have bodies of fresh water around here that we could access a lot more easily than that. Like Cameron and I went fishing in Bass Lake before, and but probably the better fishing place is Lake McClure, which is about an hour away from me, or the Big B Recreation Area, which is the river that goes into Lake McClure. When we visited there when we were shopping for homes, there wasn't that much water in that river, but right now I'm sure it's flowing heavy. No, we have not seen any bears yet. I've seen bobcats and deer. I've seen vultures. Yesterday, Cameron and I were driving into town, and there was a deer carcass on the side of the road. Probably got hit by a car, and there was a bunch of vultures eating it. I didn't even know we had vultures in California. Yeah, well, I'm not going to be doing any deer hunting. And the main reason I'm not going to be doing any deer hunting is I don't want to have to do all that cleaning, uh, dressing of the animal, etc. Well, here in Lamb, I do believe there is bear season, even in California. But I'm also pretty sure that more or less nobody shoots any bears in California. People do hunt here, but it's not that common. Other states, you get a lot more hunters probably per capita than California. I like to shoot pictures of animals. Venison. I mean, the thing about it, if you're going to have venison, you have to have a very good sauce to go over the top of it, that covers up the taste of the meat more or less. I know there are bears up here, but I have not seen any, nor have I seen any tracks or anything. But where I did see bear tracks, or where there were bear tracks, was at Bass Lake. When Cameron and I went fishing there, uh, a family came down to the lake walking around, and they found bear tracks, and were talking about them. So that's how I know there were bear tracks there. But Bass Lake, then you could make venison chili. Yeah, you could probably do that. That would probably come out pretty good. I remember when we used to go to Mammoth when I was a kid. Every year they have a chili cook-off in Mammoth, and we'd go try different chilies. The chili cook-off every year. I mean, by and large here at Lamb, if I catch a fish, my goal is to let it go because I don't like to eat fish. If I catch a fish and it swallows the hook or something, then I would probably try to gut it, clean it. I mean, I have the reason I don't have a problem gutting and cleaning fish is because when I was a kid, my dad took me fishing all the time, and he also was not a believer in doing things for me. So if I caught a fish, it was my job to clean it and prepare it, and then my mom would cook them. Well, I never buy filet of fish from McDonald's because if I'm going to have fish at all, mostly I only like fish and chips made out of Atlantic cod. There's a couple of good fish and chips restaurants that I know of that I sometimes get fish and chips. But other than that, I mostly never eat fish. I don't like fish. I don't mind eating swordfish. It's pretty good, but I feel bad about eating it because I don't like really eating wild caught stuff in general. It's like we've got all these animals that we've domesticated explicitly for the purpose of eating. So why do we need to eat other animals that just live in the wild? Cows and chickens and pigs exist solely to be eaten by people. Meow! You got a food? Oh, my bad. I am so sorry. I committed the cardinal sin. I did not refill Trouble's food. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, because I'm an ESTJ, is I'm going to lecture you about the proper way to do things. How to make coffee. Yesterday was a very anti-ESTJ day for me because we watched this episode of Naked and Afraid where this ESTJ guy was being like just such a dick, you know? Like just insisting that the only one who could possibly know what he's doing or how to do things is him. And evaluating every person he encounters on their utility according to his particularist metric. You know? It's just like, okay. Oh, wonderful. Another opportunity for Rod to provide a lecture to his partner who doesn't want to hear it. But you know, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I wouldn't have felt so anti-ESTJ except for the fact that then I watched the basketball game and fucking Bill Walton was commentating. He is the absolute worst. He is horrible beyond all measure. ESPN desperately needs to fire him. He's terrible. It's like the whole time he's broadcasting, he's talking about himself instead of the basketball game. Like, most of that basketball game was Bill Walton talking about his 1970s UCLA teams. He's just unbearable. And he desperately needs me to yell at him. Like, both that guy Naked and Afraid and Bill Walton need me. The best thing that could possibly happen to them would be for me to go shame the living fuck out of them for being so horrible. Because it's exactly what they are, fucking horrible. And the worst thing is, nobody is especially well qualified, except for me, to put them in their fucking place, you know? Bill Walton needs to be put in his fucking place and shamed and belittled until he recognizes that he's doing an incredibly shitty job of ruining basketball games for the entire country. Because he wants to talk about himself all the time. He's a horrible, horrible person. I mean, everybody says he's a wonderful person, like he's good to people and generous and whatever. I don't give a fuck, because those impacts are particularist and localized. The universal impacts are he ruins every basketball game he commentates. He makes it unwatchable. And those impact everybody in the whole country. Whereas, no matter how good a guy he is to his family and friends, it doesn't fucking matter, you know? There's a lot of good commentators, but Bill Walton is absolutely not one of them. Oh, I already filled it up with water. That was dumb. Okay. I started some coffee. And the thing is, I mean, apparently he's a good guy outside of his job if you don't mind being part of the Bill Walton show. Like, apparently he's generous and inclusive to friends and family and stuff like that. I don't think he's a shitty person, but I think he has the shittiness implicit to N.I. Polar. He's so shitty and has no capacity to understand how shitty he is at his job. It's appalling. It's appalling. And he just rubs me the wrong way in every single thing he says or does. I just hate him. He is so full of himself, and also thinks everybody should be fascinated with what he's saying. But really, he's just a cancer on the basketball landscape. ESTJs could not be any less qualified to do anything communicative at all because they think they're incredibly capable of commenting on anything, and they're totally not. So some scores will say something like, "Yeah, well, like somebody blocked the shot, and he's all, that's Akeem Olajuwon. That's Akeem Olajuwon blocked shot just like that. You know, though Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the best player I ever played against, there's a fucking basketball game going on. I would like some actual play-by-play and commentary about the game. I don't need to hear about Jamal Wilkes as your great teammate from 1973. How many times did I hear him say the name John Wooden last night? John Wooden is not the coach of UCLA and hasn't been for like 50 years. So, you know, my key takeaway from this is fuck Bill Walton. I just wish I could get him alone in a room, because the one thing that ESTJs are susceptible to is me, because I'm very good with language, you know, and they're unipolar, which is an absolute value, but very blind, right? So you want to make an ESTJ squirm, tell them the truth. The simple, concise truth, and keep hammering it home until they cry. I would love to make Bill Walton cry, and I believe I'd be capable of doing so. Of course, ESTJs don't listen for shit, right? So I'd have to repeat it 1 billion times very loudly before you even heard me. But so many people in the world need to be yelled at by me. It's like, it's my job to yell at ne'er-do-wells and buttfuckeries. ISTJs are fine. ISTJs are great. Cameron's fantastic. Cameron has TE as his tool function. So he likes to solve problems and be helpful and stuff, but it's instrumental as it should be rather than absolute value. ESTJs love to tell you how you're doing your thing wrong, or how you're not taking good enough care of your property. ESTJ, you're not taking good enough care of intelligence. You're not taking good enough care of intuition. You're incredibly wrong much of the time. Believe yourself to be right much of the time. And don't listen when I correct you. Which is why the only good solution is rigorous shaming. Well, it's like the last ESTJ I typed. He was so vigorously opposed to introverted intuition. And when I said to him, well, sometimes you just got to let things be what they are, right? You can't always add a corkscrew. Like, no, you don't. Yeah, no, things don't have to be just what they are. Well, that's true. You can ruin everything with your bullshit if you'd like. But if you want things to be unruined, you have to let them be what they are. ESTJ, you put them anywhere near anything cool, they'll compromise it into something shitty. Well, let's add some extra nonsense onto this. Well, I do feel bad for them. You know, it's like I think about my poor dad and what a nightmare it must have been for him. Um, all of his intuition directed towards anticipating things that might go wrong with his plans, and no introverted intuition to determine which of those things ought to be actually cared about and prioritized, and which of those things is of insignificant likelihood, sufficiently insignificant likelihood that you don't need to prevent it. Right? Some things are good to take action to prevent. It is the case that if an ESTJ had bought this house, for sure we would have had a working generator when the power went off. You know, if an ESTJ had bought this house, for sure we would have had a chainsaw. For sure we would have had. Okay, well, if you're not going outside, then don't stand at the door and meow. I for sure would have parked my car someplace else. So, yeah, being an ESTJ is great in lots of ways because you because you probably, well, here's the expression, right? Better to have and not need than need and not have, right? The thing is, that's actually a terrible rule of thumb. It's terrible because you can anticipate infinite things that you might need, and you should not prepare to have stuff, to have all that stuff. Otherwise, you just have a place filled with objects and tools for every possible contingency without any use of intuition to tell you which of those contingencies has more relevance. Okay, Mr. Meow. Would you like me to go outside for a cigarette? Okay, I'll do that. Then you can go outside with me. Yeah, it's not a generator's a good thing to have. We just got a new DeWalt generator. The thing is, moving, if you're changing so dramatically your place as we did from Los Angeles, big, very temperate city, to Heights Cove, which is in the mountains, not especially high elevation, but obviously in Arcadia, there's not anything like this. And I can't believe we had like at least 3 more inches of snow last night. And it's going to snow all day today. And then it's going to snow again on Wednesday. So let me go get my cigarettes. But even with all of that, under normal circumstances, this transition here would have been fairly easy. It's just that a sequence of unpredictable things happened. Like the transition into this home has been littered with problems. None of which make me regret the decision at all, because they're all one-time problems. like we like the central heating broke hours after we moved in. We were without heat for about a week. I got super sick when we moved in. We didn't have any of our stuff for at least 2 weeks after we moved in. Um, we didn't know what we were doing, and we had to learn all the lessons the hard way. And ESTJ wouldn't have to do that because they're not using their intuition to know what they need to prepare for. They're using their intuition to potentiate what they might need to prepare for. As such, the ESTJ would have a chainsaw, he'd have a generator that works, he'd make sure the generator was working before it ever snowed, because we had a generator when we moved in, it just was broken. Of course, I'm just so done with no power on Thursday that I make this shit happen where Delilah, because I can't, at that point I have no power, also can't get out of here, I can't transfer anybody any money or anything, so I get Delilah to transfer Cameron the money for a new generator and a snowblower. Cameron found a nice snowblower on sale in Los Angeles for half what it costs, because people don't really need snowblowers in Los Angeles. It's used, but it works great. Anyway, he shows up on Friday with this snowblower and my generator. We spend a couple of hours digging out and snow blowing out a parking space for him because there's no way you can pull into my driveway. And the roads, even though they're plowed, are plowed to one lane. They're normally 2-lane roads, obviously, but and it's snowing again. Anyhow, we get him parked. We get this 187-pound generator in a box, and we gotta walk it down this half-assedly shoveled walk path up the driveway that I have that's not quite wide enough for the box. We've huffing, puffing, just struggling so much. Halfway down this walkway, despite the fact that PG&E told us we weren't getting power back until Saturday the earliest, Friday evening, the power comes back on. And we're fucking pushing the generator down the driveway. So I was both thrilled because then we didn't have to figure out how to do all the generator interface and stuff. But also, like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I wanted to solve a problem here. Not prevent another problem in the future. I guess that's NE Dom TE6, right? I don't mind solving problems. I don't like preventing them. I do mind solving problems too, but I am capable of doing some problem solving like that, And of course, this guy Chad is supposed to plow our driveway. It's like I should have called him immediately when I got back from Triangle Market. But SE8 is so slow. I'm so foot draggy about pulling the trigger on shit, which is why I didn't buy that chainsaw yesterday, Well, it was that, plus there was a line at the hardware store. So let's do this some other day. Well, that's just shitty TE, right? Like, because you need it now, Eric. You need it right now. So what are you doing? of course, fortunately, Cameron had an alternate solution. I'm just like, I'm not going up there to saw those things right now. I'm done with effort today, you know? And he's like, well, I'm going to go up there and saw him at the school with you. I'm like, sure, dude, go for it, you know? If that's what you want to do. You want to saw logs, go for it. I don't feel like sawing logs right now. But, you know, one really good thing about living here is it's already getting me so much more exercise than I ever got in LA. Shoveling snow is a good workout, and I feel healthy. I feel like, you know, alive, alive with pleasure. That's the best tagline in history. Newport Cigarettes tagline: alive with pleasure. Another great tagline, though, is for Pall Malls, where particular people congregate. that Pall Mall one is more NI satisfying, and the Newport one is just bam NI satisfying as a tagline. Alive with pleasure for a cigarette, you know. Nah, these things aren't gonna kill you. They're gonna make you alive with pleasure. Well, I got a DeWalt for $1,200. I wanted to get a Honda generator because they're the best, but they're like $5,000. So I said, no, thank you. I do not need a Honda generator that badly. DeWalt's a good company. They make good power tools. When I buy power tools, I usually buy DeWalt. But the thing is, I don't really like power tools because I don't want to hurt myself. I have injured myself with a power tool before. One time I was working with a belt sander and it like pulled my middle finger in and sanded off the whole top of my middle finger. That was painful. And I really need to avoid hand injuries because at some point I will get back into playing music, you know. I haven't touched the guitar in a while. It's right there. It's still wrapped up in bubble wrap. I just haven't been feeling it, you know. Not sure why. Well, Trouble, do you want to go outside or not? You decide. Be a decisive kitty. No, you don't want to go outside? Do you want to go outside? Or not? He's scared of the tripod. He doesn't like me carrying the tripod around. And who can blame him? Tripods are notoriously sketchy characters. You get a Mexican to play one? To play one what? One game of Parcheesi? Of course, he's gonna meow in a second. He's gonna want to go outside again. This cat is nothing but trouble. But he resumed his kitty day job yesterday. So prior to the one really like heavy storm we had during the day, during that day, he went out on his kitty day job because his way of doing things is I'll let you outside, Trouble. Meow. You don't want to go outside. It's snowing again and it's cold. So you don't want to go outside. This is the thing. He wants to be outside all day at his kitty day job, but he's been stuck with all this. Oh, a Mexican Strat. I do plan on buying an electric guitar. I'm gonna go to the music store here. They have a bunch of used guitars and some interesting ones. And I will buy an electric guitar. I'm also gonna need to buy some kind of little amp. But I'm slow to pull the trigger on purchasing things, big purchases especially. I don't buy things as a way of entertaining myself. I don't like buying things. I like buying experiences, like a meal. I like buying consumables, like drugs, cigarettes, food, fast food. Um, but I don't like buying objects. I dislike buying objects. Yeah, I could get one of those amp simulator things. I forget what they're called, Line 10 or something like that. That has a bunch of different amps that you can simulate. That's probably a good idea. Actually, Boba Fett. That's probably the best thing I could do would be to get one of those. Because after all, well, see, the problem is this. The problem with that is if I don't have any actual amplifier, then I'm going to have to, I don't know how I'm going to do the audio so that I hear it in my ears. I guess I'll just have to mix in a monitor channel for that channel. I don't normally monitor shit when I record it, so that's the one thing I'm saying is I never monitor anything when I record. So I'm listening to the thing that I'm playing over, and I've got one headphone on and I'm listening to the guitar here, right? I'm not sure if that's gonna work with an electric guitar going through amp simulator. It might. I could figure it out, but it's just something I've not done before, so I'm not really sure exactly how to do it. And you just gotta mix in. I'd have to run it through a mixer of some kind. Or maybe I could do it with a digital mixer, I'm not sure. Probably I could. So yeah, if I got one of those, I'm sure I could figure out how to monitor the guitar channel at the proper mix with what I'm playing over. The other thing about not having an amplifier, of course, is for non-recording purposes, I guess you could still just run headphones directly from the amp simulator. Yeah, I could just play your guitar without recording and still hear it going through an amp in my headphones, I guess. But it's like you can't really you can't really play the guitar and sing over it. Like if I wanted to do that on a live stream or something, I need an amp, a small amp. Because big amps, they don't sound good until you turn them up to a certain amount. You need to get a small amp that sounds good when it's turned down so that I can play and sing over it and have that be a good mix, like the same equivalent mix with an acoustic guitar. Because that's what I do mostly with the guitar. So, um, even if I get an amp simulator, I'm still going to need to get a small amp. Oh, Lemon Melon says that Bobo was saying just go direct into your computer and do the amp simulator software. I don't like the sound of that at all because meow. I don't think it's gonna sound as good as if it's going through an external box of some kind, like a pedal or whatever. Hello, Mr. Man, come here. Oh, yes, Daddy loves you. Daddy knows. Daddy loves you and he knows. So, yeah, I don't, I like to keep, to the extent that I'm going to be recording sounds, I want the sound to be done outside of the end jack, you know? And I'm not sure if that's a good strategy or not, but it is my strategy. Speaking of music, hello, Mr. Man. Oh, yes. Okay, fine. He doesn't want me to pet him with my foot. He keeps pushing that on us, lol. Who keeps pushing wood on you? Anyhow, speaking of music, Corey texted me multiple times yesterday and seems interested in continuing our friendship, which is nice. Um, I get that emulations are good. I just want the emulator to be outside of the computer. Meow. A digital amp, huh? I didn't know they had digital amps. Meow. I know you want to go outside, but it's snowing. I know. You're a very good kitty. You are a wonderful man. And I'm a very lucky lady. I have such a wonderful man, kitty. Oh, yes. Well, I mean, it requires more processing power, right? So, depending on how much stuff you got going on in your audio app, how many tracks you got multi-track mixed in your audio app and stuff, adding another layer that requires more processing power can be a problem sometimes for me and this old computer anyway. You might say, well, Eric, get a new laptop. Well, this laptop has worked fine. I'll get a new laptop when this one breaks. That's how I do things. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, anyhow, sparsely attended live stream here. Carmen's Pant, Boba Fett, Lemon Melon, I appreciate your presence. Otherwise, it would just be me talking to myself. Which I do plenty often. Not a bad thing necessarily. I've had plenty of live streams where I've talked about anybody here for long stretches of time. And those were my favorite ones. Not really. But they weren't necessarily ones I didn't like either. Trouble, listen, I am not a doorman. Okay? If you want to go outside, if I'm going to go over there, you need to go outside. I'm not just going to leave the door open for obvious reasons. It's very cold outside. Okay. But no. Do you want to go outside? Well, what do you know? He went outside. He's an outside kitty with an outside chance at winning over my heart. That's a good song. I call it Outside Kitty with an Outside Chance. Well, what else are you going to talk about, Eric? Oh, I don't know. Monday, I'll call in my Adderall prescription. There was no point calling it in until Monday because I haven't been able to get out of here, I tried calling it in on Friday and strangely was unable to get directory assistance to find the phone number of Optum Health in Temple City. So I gotta figure out what's going on with that with my doctor's office. Well, now I can do figure out the internet. But if you haven't used directory assistance in a while, let me tell you, it's useful. It's definitely useful. If you are stuck in the woods in a house with no cell reception and no power, and you have a corded landline, you can still use 411 to find out the phone numbers of places you want to call. So that's really nice. It's like, good job, telephone company, for having 411 still. Back when I was a kid, there were two options for phone numbers, or three. You had it written down in your own personal phone book, which you kept track of everyone's phone numbers in, or you looked it up in the yellow or white pages, or the easiest thing to do, call 411. And so, because I am lazy and don't like to look through the phone book, I used 411 a lot when I was a kid. I didn't imagine I'd ever be using it again. But I guess I never thought about the question. Turns out it's a lifesaver if you're stuck in a house in the woods with no power and no internet. We were able to keep our phones charged by running the car, idling it in the driveway for an hour or so at a time and charging our phones. Unfortunately, now the engine light is turned on. So I don't know if that directly followed from the fact that we were idling in the car to charge our phones, or if it was just incidental, coincidental, like it was going to turn on soon anyway. I know I need to put more oil in the car, so when I stopped at Boot Jack to buy more oil, ta-da! They don't have 5W30 full synthetic, which the Mini Cooper requires full synthetic. And premium gas. Like those are things you don't really think about when you're buying a car, but they matter a little bit. So, I've also been thinking about the expression, if you're bored, then you're boring. If you're bored, then you're boring. Because the other day, when we still didn't have power, I I said to Rachel, I'm bored. And I was bored. Maybe I'm boring. Yeah, I could have made something. But the, the totality of your experience is more complicated than just making a decision to do something. And for somebody like me who has very little self discipline, I really got to be in the mood. It's a matter of mood. And being in snow jail doesn't foster the impulse to be creative in me particularly. When I went out to walk the Triangle Market, I made a lot of little videos, some of which I started uploading, and I took a lot of great pictures too, which I'll post to the community tab. But I haven't gotten to that yet because I still feel like caged. You know, it's surprisingly annoying to not even be able to walk down into your backyard without going through a big rigmarole to put on a bunch of clothes and stuff. It makes me glad that I didn't move us to the high Sierras because this is normal for the high Sierras. This is not normal for the low Sierras. This is historically abnormal. With climate change, you never know. It could continue to be like this for a while, but I doubt it. If it does continue to be like this for a while, that's fine. Actually, it's like next year when this happens, I'll be way more well prepared for it. I'll understand the urgency of staying on top of clearing your driveway and having your cars parked in the right spots and having plenty of fuel for your generator, etc. So I'll just have to wait for the snow plows and I'll be in and out of here like normal and it'll be great. And I'll really love the snow because it's so beautiful and blah 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 blah, and I'll not have to spend all my time sitting in the house. but uh, but regardless, I I recognize, understand that my current challenges are not representative of any kind of norm that's sticky to this place. I don't have any regrets at all in terms of over overarching decision making. I have regrets at the level of I wish I had made sure that generator was working before power went out, stuff like that. But those are one-off problems. One-off problems, there's no reason to get disturbed by them at all. Because we're from an SI perspective, it's like I don't expect to be able to intuit things very well like that. I expect to have to make a mistake once and learn from it. Are we near Star Wars Canyon? I don't know where Star Wars Canyon is. I've never heard of it. I don't think so. But I am very excited to go to this place called Clearwater because apparently they've got old mining buildings and shit there. It's out in the middle of the forest. It's an abandoned mining camp. And you can only get to it by hiking into it or by taking a little wilderness car. So, and, because we're back here in Jerseydale and there's no access to Yosemite, as the signs say, um, there are not very many people who are going back there. I'll look it up. Star Wars Canyon. Rainbow Canyon, California. No, I'm not down there. That's in Death Valley. From World War II until 2019, it was commonly used by the United States Air Force and Navy for fighter jet training and was frequented by photographers who, from the canyon rim, were able to photograph jets flying beneath them. The canyon rim can be reached from Father Crowley Outlook, California State Route 190. Friar John J. Crowley, often referred to as the Desert Padre, was an early 20th century Catholic priest in California's large but sparsely populated Eastern Sierra. He lived there from 1919 to 1940 with an interlude mainly in Fresno from about 1924 to 1934. Interesting. Well, we live on the Western Sierras. The Western Sierras are not as okay, trouble wants to come back. The Western Sierra is not as hardcore as the Eastern Sierra. What's going on in this, man? Come on in. What's in the row? So, meow, meow. We watched an interesting episode of Naked and Afraid yesterday, in which there was this guy who had the most amazing bushcraft skills I have ever seen on any show of Naked and Afraid. He went out into the African wilderness and, hi, come here. And he made a longbow out of a stick and cordage he made. He made himself shoes like right away. His shelter building was crazy. It's like everything he did was super impressive. I don't know what he was. But the thing is, he ended up tapping on day 10 because he was scared. Because his partner left, and then he's in this part of Africa where there's, lions, rhinos, elephants, whatever, and they're all coming near his boma in the middle of the night, and he just didn't feel safe. Oh, he also hurt his feet really badly, so he couldn't really walk around. Oh, trouble. I don't want to play inside outside, kitty. Hey, well, what do you want? Cat is. No, Fiak Kiak. That's not. That's not how he did it. I mean, he had a functioning bow that he made out of a sapling, and he even had straight arrows. He used the fire to soften parts of it, and then he straightened it out, and he had straight arrows. It was crazy. Hyenas bite bigger than lions. Yeah, there were hyenas around him too. Um, and he fashioned his own bone arrow tip. He did crazy stuff. But you take your chances with the big cats. Well, I mean, the thing is, he had boma around him, so he had all these sticks with thorns and stuff around him, and he had a fire. But the animals kept getting right next to his boma anyway all the time. I don't blame him for being scared. It's not normally why people tap out. Okay, well, what do you want? You want to go outside again? Yeah, I know, it's cold out there. He's so not happy about he is also suffering cabin fever for sure. He wants to go outside to do his kitty day job all day. Yesterday he was outside all day because he just couldn't take it anymore. But he really doesn't like this snow stuff all over the place. I know, Mr. Man. I know. It's very sad. I know. What plaintive meows, huh? There's some seriously plaintive meows. Paranoia, paranoia, everybody's coming to get me. Let's defend me. Now, I fed him already. He's got plenty of food on his plate. He's frustrated because he can't go outside. And he's just complaining about it. He's gone outside. No, he's not on any meds. He's a good kitty. He's a happy kitty in general. He liked it here. Until all this snow fell. There's out here. It's probably at this point all covered up in snow, but I could show you the outgoing and incoming snow tracks of him leaving and coming back to the house yesterday. Well, kitty, listen. If you want to come outside, come out this door then. I'm gonna go show the people the tracks. Oops. There, that one. I still haven't learned what light switch goes to on the light. So here were his outgoing tracks yesterday. Can you see him? That's him going out of the house. And here's his incoming tracks yesterday. That's him coming back into the house. We went over there someplace. It is, of course, snowing again. Now he's out here. I don't know if he's going to go or not. It's almost 6 a.m. Before the snows came, 6 a.m. was about his time to leave for work. And then, we don't see him all day. I don't see us hiding our hair from him all day. When he does go to work, he doesn't like not being able to go to work. Ultra Super SSJ2. I was talking to Spanish people. Your other account was banned. Oh. Well, you must have fucked up. No, we're in Mariposa, California, Jersey Dale, Yosemite West, close to Yosemite National Forest. So, anyhow, Trouble's mad. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the snow. Because it prevents him from going to work. What he doesn't understand is, he and I are in the same boat here. It's preventing me from everything I want to do, too. Not everything, but I don't like being stuck here. I want to return to normalcy now. Oh. I don't know why you were banned either, Jeremiah Fix. It must have been an accident ban, Sometimes moderators butt ban you or something. I didn't ban you on purpose. So it's probably an accident. Would you like me to unban you? I can do that, but I'll have to remember how to do that. You just want me to watch you eat, huh? Trouble really likes us to watch him eat and tell him he's eating well. Oh my God, you are eating so well right now. Oh yes, Mr. Mankity. Mankity kitty man. You're such a mankity kitty man. And Daddy loves you. And Daddy knows. Oh yes, Daddy knows. It's true. Daddy does know. Trouble wants some catnip or valerian herbs. No, he wants to be able to go to work. He really likes to go to work. And right now he's snowed in and he's not loving it. Being snowed in for a couple of days is fine, whatever. We've been just snowed in for like 2 weeks now. We did get out of here yesterday, but when I got to the store, that was pretty critically important. I'm glad that Cameron showed up when he did. Cats want to watch for predators. They don't trust the solidity of walls. It's funny. I got slippery fingers. Right, well, I'm not saying it was you, Karma's Pimp, who accidentally banned Ultra Super SSJ2. Since you're not a moderator, it would appear impossible that it was you who's guilty of that crime. So, like I was saying, a couple of days of being snowed in is fine. We're coming up on like 2 weeks, So that's a long time to be stuck one place. It's hard to even keep track of how long it's been. I'm not really sure how long it's been. But it's been too long for my tastes. It wouldn't have been so bad if we had had power the whole time. But we didn't. And even if we had had power the whole time, it would still be bad. It's like, it's important to be able to leave your house and go someplace. We've taken walks and shit, But I expect to, like, go out to eat occasionally. Go into town when I need something I forgot about. Normal civilization shit. Okay, I got my little German glass cup here. And I'm gonna pour some sugar on me. I'm gonna pour some coffee. There. Now, next, I'm going to get one of these. Half a donut. Cut this donut in half yesterday. I didn't want the whole donut. Now, let's see if it's delicious. It's delicious. Oh, Mal. Oh, Malington's surprise. Purple, those donuts aren't for you. That coffee is also not for you. Looking out the window, yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you see out there? Is there snow falling from the sky, sky, sky? Is that of which you beware? You're a fine, fine kitty and you're looking at the window, sniffing on the chip, clipping the window. Yeah, 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 yeah. Kitty on fire. Kitty with passion. Lustful kitty. Wants to go outside. I know, Mr. Man. It's frustrating. He's a real good kitty. And it oh, it's on his head. I'm a humble guy with healthy desires. I've been fired. I've been tired. I've been tired. You guys know that song? Well, sit right down, my wicked son, and let me tell you a story. I used to shovel a path around my property so the cats can patrol. Well, I'm not going to shovel all of this snow. It's too much snow for me. And besides, this house has a covered walkway. I can just patrol that. That's what I've been patrolling, you know. Well, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is quite delightful. Whenever I see this stuff, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Did you know that it is snowing now? Can you see all the snowflakes falling? Even though we already have more snow than we want. While the weather outside is frightful, but my fire is quite delightful. So whatever the fuck, who knows? Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Oh, that Bill Walton. Bill Walton makes me so mad. It's coming down pretty good. I wish it would rain instead of snow. If it would rain, buckets and buckets of rain, then maybe that would wash away the snow. Yeah, I heard about this Scott Adams getting in trouble thing. It's like, what do you expect if you're a dumbass racist? Why poor Scott Adams? He was advocating public policy and that he knew about politics and stuff while concurrently practicing groupist bullshit. Should he not incur the natural consequences thereof? Couldn't decide between thereof and therefrom. It's not like he's being criminally punished. I don't want to get into a boxing match really, but if he would box me, I guess I'd box him. Tack that, I'd say, punching him in the face. It was out of context. He's not really racist, but Eric can now say he's racist and there's reason to box him. Oh, well, I don't know. I, I I've heard what he said supposedly. I think I haven't researched it myself, but um, it certainly sounded like he said something along the lines of he lives where he does to be away from black people or something, right? Well, I don't know. If he's an ENTP, then he's has no excuse for not being correct with his words. Eric can win and both won't be hurt. I mean, the point is, you never hear me make those mistakes. I walk all lines with great precision. I'm okay with the fact that Scott Adams can beat me up. If I were to get into a fight with him, I'd try my hardest, but I would not be surprised if I lost. Well, that's true. I mean, it's easy to use ellipses to convey something that's not what the person conveyed. That's definitely the case. You can clip out a chunk of a 3 sentence expression, chunk out the middle chunk, and totally not convey the opposite of what the person is saying. That's that's a possible thing to do. It would be extremely irresponsible. And it's kind of journalistic. It lacks any measure of journalistic integrity, but it's possible to do that. Is that what happened to him? I doubt it. I've not heard anybody tell me that's what happened to him. That's a disqualifiable offense in debate. If you use quotes that convey the exact opposite of what the writer's saying, it's hard to establish, but it's a disqualifiable offense. No, Dilbert does not equal Tiffany. Tiffany's unmatched. Tiffany's my second greatest creation after Delilah. She's not even mine, right? She just exists independent of me. That's how you know she's spectacular. There. I've unzipped my jacket. I mean, there's definitely no doubt that Dilbert is more successful than Tiffany. Fortunately, I'm an artist, so I'm above those kind of calculi. I think a good character in a movie would be an artist who's just a visionary and never actually makes anything himself. There are such people, in the world. But I think that character is a good character for a movie. So what I'm envisioning is you painting a pear. No, not quite like that. A little bit more round at the bottom. There. Yeah. You got it. Okay. Now you do. You go ahead and finish painting it now. I mean, yeah, it was definitely a genius way to resonate with millions of people in work environments. A genius way to get people to put your comics up in work environments. It's going to be highly resonant to shit tons of people, and because so many people have jobs, and it's not just the corporate world that's full of nonsense at work, So there's something everybody can kind of relate to, even if they don't work in an office. But Dilbert, the cartoon, the comic strip, is a different question than the characters of Dilbert and Tiffany. Tiffany is indisputably better. She's fantastic. And like I said, she exists and lives independently of me. I may have given birth to her, but she's her own entity at this point. Yeah, he sure did. Unfortunately, apparently he believes himself a pundit while being unqualified to behave as one. You know, if you're going to engage in a bunch of groupist stuff, then, or if you're going to engage in groupist stuff at all, you're not qualified to be engaged in public discourse that people should listen to. About politics anyway. You might be perfectly qualified to talk about something other than politics, but not politics. If you make that basic level mistake, you're not qualified to talk about politics. Perhaps, if the common person understood intellectual laziness, we could easily highlight the way by which bad ideas gain traction in academia. Um, yeah, I mean, the problem with being groupist is it's a frame of reference that says I get to reduce other individuals to a label I arbitrarily assign them and define. So that's the worst. That's worse than intellectual laziness. That's intellectual negligence. You know, criminal negligence of the intellectual sort. And it doesn't really matter why you're doing it. It's makes you unqualified to discuss politics. And any discussion of politics that you do anyway, despite your lack of qualification, is going to be part of the problem, not part of the solution. How is it a smear? If he's directing blame at groups that aren't real, how is it a smear? It's absolutely not. I'm not even talking about him. I'm saying, as a general rule, if you think that those darn Republicans or those darn Democrats are the problem, or those darn those people, or those darn those people, then you're not qualified to talk about politics. Okay, well, I'm not talking, I didn't specifically say he was those things. I said, if that were the case. So I speak the way I do. I'm not him. I don't make those kind of mistakes. I speak precisely when I'm talking about things that matter. Hi, Winston's mom. At the same time, it is not the case that I believe that just because somebody's a horrible person, that their work product should be thrown in the trash, right? So I don't think that him being racist or whatever has anything to do with the quality of his comic strip. And I don't think that him being racist or whatever is a good reason for a newspaper to cancel his comic strip. It would be a good reason if that discourse occurred in the comic strip, but not if it didn't. And so I disagree with newspapers deciding to not carry him anymore. I don't, however, assert that it's not their decision to make. And I don't disagree with people who say, I don't want to listen to this racist person. Well, I don't think there is going to be any upcoming split. Because remember, the groups aren't real. It's just, it's like an adolescent kind of intellectual, political outrage masturbation that people do. But at the same time, they don't act like that in real life. So in other words, nobody I know determines whether or not they like somebody else or want to talk to them or hang out with them based on their politics. I know and have friends and family, all different kinds of politics, right? And I have no problem with any of them. This battle is only occurring on this pretend level, right? It's a discourse consumption habit. It's not a real thing. And what I provide is the solution to that, the correct discourse. That's what I provide. That's what I have to offer. Be the solution to all of our discursive problems, namely a president who can demonstrate consistently exactly how the discourse should proceed, who can condemn and shame effectively those who do discourse poorly, who are in power, representatives, senators, whatever, who can call people to the carpet and hold them accountable for doing their actual jobs, upholding their oath to respect the Constitution, etc., and who will actually represent all American citizens, not just one half of this illusionary battle between bullshits, right? So there's the answer to the question is there is no upcoming split. There's an upcoming exploding of this discursive swamp that we find ourselves in. It needs to happen. I am the one who will make it happen. It's a big responsibility. Can we have a forum already where we can type bigly? I don't know what that would mean. I'm not going to put together any such thing. I'm already doing all the work I want to be doing right now. I'm live streaming. That's easy. It's not work really at all. It's what I felt like doing this morning. So that's what I like doing things that I feel like doing. And I don't like doing things that I don't feel like doing. You may say I'm a spoiled brat, and you would be correct. I definitely am a spoiled brat. But, you know, somebody has to do that job. Somebody has to be a spoiled brat. Well, I thought a lot about that. And I, I don't feel very confident I don't feel very confident that it would be particularly reliable. The way I type people requires me to observe how they deal with a question, not just know their answer to it. And I don't think I can design a test that excises that requirement. It would be any better than the other online tests, you know? So yeah, that's the reality there. Doesn't that look like a fake background? That totally looks like a fake background. Let's see if I can get it lined up better there. Hi, I'm here in front of my green screen. And as you see, I've got a snow background going on here. It's actually a loop of a video of snow falling in the woods. I've got it projected here on my green screen. One disadvantage about being as tall as I am is I actually need a taller tripod. Thanks, Moonfae. If that's who that was, I think it was. Oh, I gotta get it more cigarettes. Hold on. Hi, Mr. Man. Kitty's outside now again. Is he gonna go to work today? I don't think so, because it's actively snowing. I wonder what happens if I turn off these lights. Is that better or worse? I don't know. I guess it looks worse. Yeah, it's better with the lights on. Okay. There. I'm pretty well in frame now. Of course, I have to talk kind of loud because I'm a little further away from the phone than would be ideal. Camera got me a cool lavalier mic, but of course it didn't work with my phone. It just didn't have the right size whole mini USB thing that the phone has. So it was for a different kind of phone, I guess. I want to get one of those though. One of those lavalier mics that plugs into my phone. I'll get one actually, but it's like I would like to have just get it online and have it delivered here. Ain't no deliveries coming in these days. We haven't gotten any mail. We haven't gotten any packages. Our trash hasn't been picked up in 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. Our trash was supposed to be picked up 2 weeks ago Monday. No. This will be the second Monday that it hasn't been picked up, I think. It'll be like 2 full weeks that we've been stuck here on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Although we haven't, as I've indicated, not been entirely stuck here because I asked Cameron to come up here. He brought me a generator, snowblower, and we were able to get into town yesterday and get groceries in his car. I can't get my car out of here until Chad comes and plows the driveway. Because obviously, I'm not digging that shit out, you know. There's no way I'm digging my car out. It's in front of it is just this. Just 4 feet of snow all the way up to the road where the flag is there. So Chad said he was going to come on Monday, and this whole area over here needs to be all this stuff needs to be pushed somewhere. So I'm going to ask him to push it down our dirt road that goes down the hill there. And hopefully it falls down enough the hill that he can push more and more, you know? Meow. I don't think he's a villain. I never said he was a villain. I'm just saying you can't claim to be correct about politics and also be groupist. I also personally don't think his particular version of wrong stupidness about that thing has anything to do with his comic strip unless it occurs within the comic strip. It's a cold one today, Mr. Man. We're going to have to go inside for sure. Last night, there was one point in the evening when it was snowing balls. That's the equivalent of tripping balls, but for snowing. And I just looked outside and I said, ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 mamma mia, were the two things I said. I wonder if my identity as a fake deaf person will get me canceled. People are always getting offended by my identity as a fake deaf person. But I tell them, why? I can give you everything you want from a real deaf person, plus I can hear you. Often, I go to real deaf people and tell them, can't you see? You're doing the voice wrong. You're deaf, not blind. These are some of my hilarious jokes that I have for fake deaf person. And those jokes are fantastic because why? Because they walk the line perfectly. I'm not making fun of deaf people. I'm making fun of people not understanding deaf people. That's what's called being a real intuitive. He said for the greed. I mean, interpret it how you want. There was a time when I think, a contrary partisan voice was useful and helpful, needed perhaps. But that time is long past.
Hey, senor.
Hey, Cameron. I'm live streaming.
Live stream?
Yeah.
Good morning to the people.
There is St. Cameron.
Hello, people. I'm a non-religious saint.
He's patron saint of the Strauss family.
Thank you for making coffee. This is nice to get up to coffee.
Unfortunately, I forgot to get creamer yesterday.
Oh, crap.
So, all it was black coffee.
The one thing I know you cannot do, you cannot put butter in there and think that it's creamer. I tried years back when I used to be a cream or sugar guy. Putting butter in there just ends up being a buttery tasting coffee experience. Just not good. You don't want butter coffee. No matter what the hippies say, the young kids of today, they'll say it's cool, but they're incorrect.
So don't butter your coffee.
Exactly.
Paul Burkell, chief executive of the UK-based charity Action on Hearing Loss, said, "We are shocked by the quality of sign language interpretation at Nelson Mandela's memorial, if it could be called interpretation at all." That guy who did that, who got the job as a sign language interpreter at his funeral, even though he didn't know any sign language, is one of my personal heroes. The fact that he somehow got that job is just fantastic.
That's the definition of young people nowadays, in my opinion. Someone who's like, yeah, I can do that. Give me 100,000. Hired. I don't know how to do it. So I'll take my paycheck.
So, we got probably 3 inches of fresh snow total yesterday. And it is now snowing again.
You haven't been up to the road, you've been around the little house
Yeah.
area, the snow jail area.
Yeah. Going to the road requires me to put on my boots. I mean, the thing is, I have many times now not done that. I've walked into the road in my flip-flops, and every single time I regret it. I come back with my socks soaking wet, and I've slipped and fallen a couple of times probably. So I have decided from now on, when I'm going out in that snow, I'm going to put on my boots. I'm not going out in flip-flops and socks into the snow. So, of course, I don't like putting on my boots, so that means I don't go out there very much.
You just wait till next year. They're going to be self-installing boots. There'll be a whole boot stand. You step on the stand, your boots come off. You just walk out of the boots. You walk in there, the boots just clasp for you.
Like ski boots?
But ski boots don't really do it for you. You've got to be down there with them, you know?
Right. So what you're saying, you put your foot here, and it brings the back of the boot and then the front of the boot over your foot. And then
Just,
presumably it would buckle like ski boots, right?
or some kind of magic method that the boot is just completely done. And then when you get back, the boot just takes itself off for you on the clean boot stand, cleans itself.
Well, how about this? Flip flops that at the push of a button convert into boots.
I think with the airbag technology, it could only cost you like $300 per use. Sounds good.
$300 per use.
They're selling people airbags for when they ride their bicycle or motorcycle. So you wear it on your body. But I don't know about you, but I crash stuff all the time if I'm riding it. So it would cost me like $300 a ride to ride a motorcycle. By the time you fall off the bike, your airbag goes off.
Well, I try not to crash at all. I don't try to do gnarly stuff though, Cameron. You try to do gnarly stuff.
I'm out there to do the gnarly stuff.
Yeah, I try to be jostled as little as possible.
Yeah.
I am a man who opposes jostling. So, it's Sunday, Bloody Sunday, and Cameron and I might move some logs at some point.
We have every reason we could move logs.
Yeah, I think we should move logs at some point.
Unless it's raining liquid water, I don't want to do it. But even if it's snowing, solid-ish snow, that's fine. That's totally unpainful.
Yeah. Well, we can take our time deciding on when we want to do that if we do. Right now, it's definitely snowing quite a bit.
Nice.
These plantation shutters are cool because you can open them all the way and see outside. Or you could open the slats and just look outside a little bit. What if the flip-flops attach to a pair of boots and then one just slides the flip-flop into the boot?
That's a great idea.
Well, that's a good idea. And then, but the back of it has to come be like a separate piece, kind of, right? Because normally you slide your foot in from the top of the boot, like meow, right? But if you're gonna slide your whole foot in, then the back of the boot has to be a separate piece. I mean, it could be a fold-down piece. Then you'd have to put your boot on a little stepping stool, right? And the fold-down piece would fall down behind the stepping stool, and then when you've got your flip-flop into your boot, you just lift up the back part, and it clicks into place.
I think we'll have them done by 10 a.m.
And we're going to do it with just primitive bushcraft, okay?
Yeah, mine's going to be made solely of water.
Wow.
Yeah. You just use the solid form of water.
Oh.
That's all.
What's that called?
I don't know. It's magic.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. There are many different flavors of snow. So, if you want to shovel this powdery stuff that's falling on top, it's pretty easy to shovel, or comparatively easy to shovel. You can get a lot of it onto one snow shovel thing and throw it over to a different place, right? But when you get down to the snowplow snow, it's all been pushed off to the side of the road, right? Then that snow is much more difficult to deal with. And then beneath that, there's a layer of ice. For that layer of ice, you need a pointy shovel to get it. So, and also, there's a lot of different kinds of snowflakes. Like, these are really big snowflakes right now. And last night, it seems like the big snowflakes fall more slowly than the the small snowflakes. Small snowflakes seem to fall faster than big snowflakes, which makes sense because, of course, big snowflakes are having more air resistance as they're floating down. Sometimes you get like big, big round, nickel-sized snowflakes. Even and those are really like weird, misshapen things. They're not like even they look like little bits of web falling down. Let's go look at the snow that's happening outside right now and see what kind of snow it is. I want to be like the Eskimos and have a million different names for snow. It is very cold outside right now.
I think we could ask Nelson Mandela's translator for those names of the snow. It'd be good to hear what he thinks.
Yeah, it would.
This snow's name is Jonathan.
Nelson Mandela, you're no Bishop Desmond Tutu. Bishop Desmond Tutu, you're no Nelson Mandela. The Mandela effect is based on the fact that a lot of people thought Nelson Mandela died many years before he did. And I think that's what it is. And they say, that it's likely people got him confused with Bishop Desmond Tutu. Bishop Desmond Tutu.
An expert at ballet.
Yeah. Bishop Desmond Tutu was an expert at ballet. Cameron's got an excellent point there. Uh-oh. Looks like trouble went out again. So, yeah, this is fresh. This is this morning's exit path for trouble. So we won't see him till like 7 o'clock at night, even though it's snowing balls, as they say. If I put the phone there, can you get a good sense of the snowflakes? They're pretty big right now, but I've seen them bigger than this. Big, big snowflake, because it's all mixed up. It's a big snowflake, big snowflake, big snowflake. And it's really big snow, just a big snowflake, big snowflake. This pack is empty, and thus needs to go in the trash. So, anywho, I've been without Adderall for a really long time. I'll call in my prescription tomorrow. But even when I call in my prescription, I mean, you can see Cameron's car up there, all the snow on top of it, which looks to be about a foot of snow, has fallen since last night. Maybe a little more than a foot. So that's a good gauge for how much snow we've had since last night is measure the snow on top of Cameron's car. I'm not exactly sure where the roof begins, but looks like about a foot and a half. I was like, we really don't need more snow right now. There's so much snow again now that I'm starting to worry about the trees again. Fortunately, we had a 2-day melt period where all the snow fell off of the trees. And so now they're regaining more snow on them. If it keeps snowing like this all day, probably more trees are going to fall over. Power lines are going to break again. At least we have a generator now, but I was surprised to hear that it requires 7 gallons of gas to run 10 hours. I would have expected a better ratio than that, you know. And it's not a huge big deal. We got about 10 gallons of gas here, um, but we need more gas than that if the power is going to be out for an extended period of time. So I'll need to get out of here in not too long. Once once the power goes off, you know. I've only got 12, 15 most hours of generator power in terms of gasoline. I'll need to keep like 100 gallons of gas here if I really want to be sure this never happens again, that I'm never without power for the better part of a week. I don't mind storing gasoline. Uh, there's plenty of storage space in the garage. I could find a cabinet that has nothing in it currently and put 10 5-gallon gas cans in there. That's 50 gallons. Now, Cameron also brought a snowblower, as I mentioned, which is gasoline powered snowblower, which works quite well. But, you know, it works well if you've got 1 foot of snow on the ground, 2 foot of snow on the ground, not 5 foot of snow, because it's not that big of a snowblower, you know. And you can't really start at the top because you just sink into the snow. Still, it was, I think, better than just shoveling to make Cameron a parking spot, if only because it uses different muscles. So it's nice to switch up which muzzles you're using when moving a bunch of snow. So as you hopefully can see on the camera, it is really snowing a lot right now. And it's already, before this storm, supposedly historic levels of snow here, like most in history or close. Some people are saying there was a storm in the 70s that was equivalent. But Les, my neighbor, he said this was worse than that storm that he was talking about that he said was so bad 20 years ago or whenever. So, welcome to Mariposa, right? We just moved here a month ago, and then we just in time for the most snow in history that it's ever gotten. It's kind of funny. But I am worried about damage. Like I definitely don't want a tree to fall on my house. And I don't want it to fall on my retaining wall or the lights on the retaining wall. I don't want it to fall anywhere on anything that can break. I'm already know that I'm going to have to replace at least the rain gutters in the back because they're breaking from the weight of the snow. So I'd like to escape this weather sequence of dramatic weather events with an intact home. That would be preferable for sure. But when you get the most snowfall in history for a place, obviously it's going to cause some problems. No, the whole state's been hit by storms. The whole state has. Oops, I need to plug in my phone. Southern California mountains, people in the mountains around Southern California, like Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear and stuff, are super trapped. More trapped even than we are. Because at least we're in an area that has snow plows as part of the county services as a normal thing, you know. It's like the snow plows have to come out every year. Usually it's just for a couple inches or a foot of snow or whatever. Nothing like this, but at least Mariposa County is super on top of services. The snowplows are like very regular visitors. And even better, a Mariposa County snowplow driver picked me up and gave me a ride to Triangle Market. That would never happen in most counties in Los Angeles. I'm sure it's against some kind of rule. Has anyone ever heard of a channel called Shark 300? No, I've never heard of it. He's one of them political commentators like Kidology or FD Signifier and Hassan Piker. I don't know any of those people. Yeah, no, LA is getting hammered too. I don't know if it is right now, but Cameron was in LA not that long ago, just a few days ago. He says the mountains are all covered with snow and everything. And
every tall mountain along the highway for the last 200 miles has a lot of snow in it. Just like the mountains back in LA have a record amount of snow.
Yeah, and a record amount of low snow too. Mm-hmm. Like snow fell at Griffith Park. I don't know if it stuck, but it fell, and it fell around the Hollywood sign. That is really low elevation. Insufferable turd. You know what I aspire to be? A sufferable turd. Or if not that, at least you got your share of snow in Texas about a month ago. Was it big? Because from what I hear, everything's bigger in Texas. ESFP communist. Ugh. Yeah. Ay, ay, ay. So, I'm really looking forward to, I don't know, a week and a half from now or something. Because I think it's going to be a beautiful time to take the little wilderness car out once the snow melts a little bit so that it's not super deep. I think it'll be a great outing. Well, you probably won't change your mind about them. Most people who engage in political discourse have no business doing so at all and will never learn anything. They're just partisan hacks. But I mean, it's not a matter of whether I agree with someone or not. It's a matter of whether they're making defensible claims or not. It was a big amount of snow for Austin. It wasn't a huge amount of snow, but the infrastructure here is not built for snow and causes a shit tons of problems. Yeah, well, some people I got a ride with told me that they have a relative in Idaho, and Idaho has underground electric lines, so their power never goes out when it snows because it snows so much there. I wish we had underground power lines. I mean, in general, underground power lines are preferable because they don't make the landscape ugly with power lines. But what are you gonna do? And now we've got PG&E. We used to have Southern California Edison in Arcadia, and our neighbor Les doesn't like PG&E at all. And PG&E is also has a bit of a checkered past in the sense that their transformer blowing up caused some huge fire that killed 100 people.
Whoa. Oh.
And there was a bunch of hoopla about that some years back, maybe 10 years ago or something. Matt and Arden, the Atheist Experience and the Line are in Austin. So is Jimmy Snow. They YouTube. Have you found them yet? It makes sense that a lot of people from Austin would YouTube. Austin's kind of like the Portland of Texas. I bet there's a lot of people from Portland who YouTube as well. Actual Justice Warrior is a good name. I consider myself an actual justice warrior. But justice is a word people use a lot, but few people understand. Okay, so heavy mix soon, it says here on the weather report. Oh, SC played yesterday? Why couldn't I find this game yesterday? When did they play this? When did they play this game? Why doesn't it say that? Yesterday, 11:15 p.m. I missed the SC game last night? Oh my god. I checked the basketball schedule on ESPN. I saw no indication of this game being on the schedule. That so sucks ass. How did I miss that? I would totally have wanted to watch that.
Is there any way to watch games after they happen?
Yeah, actually, I can watch it.
But now you know what happened, so it would.
Yeah, well, yeah. I might still want to watch this because I have YouTube TV. I can probably watch that game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sports. Let me search. I'll use the search feature. USC. Search, I said. USC. So I recorded this game, but I didn't record the one from yesterday. Uh-huh. Okay, well, it's actually coming on in 6 minutes. They're doing a replay of it.
Wow.
So I guess I'll wrap this up and we'll watch the basketball game maybe. At least I'm confident that it won't have Bill Walton as the commentator. So that's
bonus.
That's fantastic.
So we'll get to hear about the game possibly.
Yeah, we'll get to hear about the game. Cool, huh? Ad.
I could commentate a game and just talk about my elementary school experiences.
Yeah, right.
There's basketball happening here. Boy, that sucked playing basketball at First Avenue Junior High School. Those kids sucked. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Oh, Bill Walton. You're such a schmilk schmalton. Okay. I am going to muggity meow. I am going to muggity meow. I am going to end this stream right now. Thank you all for being in here and don't have a cow.